Hi, welcome back. In this video, I'll be sharing with you a brand new product from DreameTech, the D9. This is one of the least expensive smart robot vacuums I've tested, with an electronic water tank, access to invisible wall, no-go zones, and no mop zones. I've spent the past few days putting this product through tests to see how well it stacks up against other robot vacuums in various facets like navigation, cleaning performance, and more. Full disclosure, I got this product for free to test, but as you've seen in my reviews, I base my finding on test results to show both the good and bad points to be as objective as possible. The Dreame D9 is a smart robot vacuum that utilizes lidar and SLAM for navigation. It moves around in straight back and forth lines like other lidar-based robots such as Roborock and 360. It starts the run by cleaning the edges before moving to the middle. One thing I noticed with Dreame is the wider turns. There isn't much overlap between rows, if any. It did fairly well in the coverage test, picking up most of the Quaker oats I scattered around the room. However, I noticed the passes weren't as clean as I'd hoped it would, and you could see bits of Quaker oats scattered on these areas after the first pass. It cleaned up most of it after the second pass, but there was some debris remaining. Still a decent result as it was able to cover most of the areas in the room. It didn't do a third pass because it only has a max of 2. One feature I like is the accessibility to invisible wall, no-go zones, and no mop zones. You won't see this combo in robot vacuums at this price bracket, and I believe this is a must-have feature for any robot vacuum since most homes have off-limit areas. An invisible wall is a line you can draw on the map that acts as a wall, blocking the robot from going past it. The ability to draw vertical, horizontal, and diagonal lines provides users with many options on areas to block. No-go zones are rectangular or square areas that are off-limit zones for robots. So this feature is useful for blocking areas with area rugs or work-from-home spaces, which is a common theme nowadays. You can use this robot while working without worrying about it invading your space. It also has the no mop zone feature that has a similar functionality to no-go zones, where the robot will not go over designated rectangular or square zones. The D9 didn't have any problems navigating around tight quarters, but you'll have to do your part and remove wires as it will wrap around the side brush and hamper its movement. It's also adept at avoiding objects. The alcohol dispenser here barely moved and the D9 completely avoided it in succeeding passes. However, it pushed the alcohol bottle here, but only gently so it didn't fall. It can climb rugs up to 0.8 inches thick without any problems. However, light rugs, especially those with tassels, need to be cleared out before running the robot as any loose threads will get caught up on the main or side brush. The D9 has an all-white finish with glossy and matte areas. There are 3 buttons above the lidar cover: spot, clean, and dock. Below the lidar is the opening for the dustbin. The D9's container has an above-average capacity of 570 milliliters. Behind it is a washable HEPA filter. Disposing of dirt is similar to a Roborock with a door up front. Underneath, it has one side brush plus a combo brush. One design wrinkle Dreame put is these flaps in front of the brush. I'm not sure why they put it, but it seems to negatively affect its pickup, especially on hard floors. Behind the brush is a rubber seal to funnel dirt into the suction inlet. The Dreame D9 has decent airflow with up to 15.97 CFM at its highest power setting. However, the high airflow doesn't translate well on hard floors. Even in the max setting, it didn't pick up as cleanly as I'd hoped it would since it has above average airflow. I'm guessing the rubber flaps in front of the brush roll has something to do about it, so I used scotch tape to pull it back. But the results were still the same. Passes weren't as clean, and the lack of a third pass, plus the wider turns, hamper its potential with cleaning debris. Another issue is the side brush spinning a bit too fast, scattering debris around. This is more of an issue on hard surfaces than on carpet. In the sand on hard floor test, it picked up an average of 90.7%. It didn't have enough agitation to pick up sand cleanly and left this patch after the first 2-pass run. After running it a second time, that number went up to a more respectable 98.9%, but there were still traces of sand on the surface after the second run. Fortunately, it did better on carpet. Passes were cleaner, and the side brush scattering debris issue isn't as problematic on this surface since there's more friction. It was able to pick up stuff like sand, Cheerios, quinoa, coffee grounds at a better rate than it did on hard floors. In deep cleaning tests, it picked up an average of 65.55% in 2 tests. Since it only has a 2-pass run, I did another 2-pass run and the average went up to 74.2%, which is a decent score, but it took 4 passes to attain it. Again, the lack of overlapping passes and a third pass hurt the D9 in this aspect. Next, we look at how well the D9 did in hair wrap tests. For this experiment, I spread out 1 gram of 5 and 7 inch human hair to see how much goes inside the dustbin and how much wraps around the brush. For both tests, 0.4 grams of hair, or 40%, went inside the dustbin, and 0.6 grams, or 60%, wrapped around the brush. Edge cleaning is decent. The D9 picked up a good chunk of coffee grounds I scattered in this corner of the room. The result you see here is the outcome after a 2-pass run. Another feature the D9 has is its mopping functionality. It's probably the cheapest so far with an electronic water tank. Once the tank is attached, this icon appears on the app, providing the option to adjust water flow. The water tank looks small, but according to Dreame, it can hold up to 270 milliliters, only 20 ml less than the Roborock S5 Max. Only use water since there are electronic and plastic components inside that detergents can damage. I tested it on red wine stains I dried overnight. Initially, I used the middle setting, but the pad wasn't damp enough, so I used the highest flow level after the first go-around. The D9 was able to remove the stains with minimal residue after the first 2-pass cycle. Initially, there were some tire marks, but it quickly dissipated after a few minutes. The water tank is excellent at dispensing just the right amount of water. As a result, the surface was only slightly damp, not soaking wet, minimizing residue. This robot is compatible with the Xiaomi Home app. It has a live map, providing users with real-time information where the robot is on the map, battery status, and more. Unfortunately, the D9 can only save 1 map level, meaning it's best suited for single-level homes. You can set invisible walls, no-go zones, and no-map zones within that 1 map level. The app also allows users to divide sections within the map, which is really helpful if you want the robot to only clean individual areas at a specific time of the day. It's possible to assign names to the room, but you can only select from a list. There's no option for custom names. Selective room cleaning is also available by tapping on any room on the map. In addition, you can also set the order by which these rooms are cleaned and the number of passes. Zone cleaning is also available if you want the robot to clean a specific area. Unlimited scheduling is also available with the option to choose what room to clean, select specific days it will run, as well as choose the corresponding water and power levels. So you can set unlimited runs per day at the times you prefer. Cleaning history shows you a list of the previous runs along with the corresponding maps, plus the total area the robot has covered, minutes, and the number of times it's used. The Service Schedule tab provides a heads up to users when to change the filter, side brush, and main brush. The D9 ranges between 59.1 and 64.7 decibels. Here's how it sounds like at every power setting. This robot measures 13.8 inches wide and 3.8 inches tall, so it didn't fit under this shoe rack with a 3.7-inch clearance. The body fit under this sofa with a 3.6-inch clearance, but the LiDAR sensor cover didn't. Fortunately, it's smart enough to turn around and not force its way. To wrap up this review, the D9 has some compelling features that make this worth considering for folks looking for a more budget-friendly, smart robot vacuum with high-end features like selective room cleaning, no-go zones, invisible wall, and no-map zones. Its ability to mop dried stains is comparable to a more expensive brand like Roborock. And if this is a deciding factor, then the D9 should be on your shortlist. Agitation needs some improvement as passes weren't as clean, especially on hard surfaces. The D9 is better suited for cleaning carpet based on tests. The ability to save multiple maps would be a nice add-on, but it's hard to nitpick since this robot nearly falls in the budget category with all the discounts. If this video has been helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notified when I publish new reviews like this. Links are in the description for the latest pricing. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.